disclosure, news and commentary number 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. Yeah, way to step on the song, kid. How you doing? Yeah, she's right, of course. In 2.5 months, it'll be full disclosure 100. And then, after that, it will be 2 years of doing full disclosure news and commentary. Super exciting. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It's a gorgeous time, as you can see, so I raced to get here to provide an interesting backdrop. And there's my child, the thinker, who, if I let her, probably would have been willing to swim in the pool even though it's cold.
I'm gonna do whatever you're talking about.
No, you're all good. You're all good. Enjoy your life. So, I'm not going to do an unboxing, by the way, because I'm going to save all the things that I've gotten in the last week or two for Christmas opening, because I did a Christmas video last year. People really liked it. I'd like to do one again this year, especially because I won't be seeing the kids. I'll see them in the morning, of course, to do all of that good stuff. But then they are going with my ex and her family for the first time in many years. So that's going to leave me a little bit. So I'm going to make a day of it. I'm going to be traveling all over. There's no telling where that particular video is going to come from. Might be Clearwater, Florida. Might be Miami. We shall have to see. Special thanks to Dee and Dan and Diana and Brian and Brett, Larry, not that one, but the other one, Justin, Robrod, and the OGs. Oh, the OG Myron, most certainly, and Eric, the World Walker. Those are my Patreon people. Lately, the Patreon's been crazy. I've either been putting up a lot of videos or the drama stuff and all kinds of great stuff are going on Patreon. That is a tradition that is definitely going to hold serve. What is commentary about? Commentary is about, lots of discussion has come up about the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. So I'm going to go over my rules of the road and tell you about the usual bullshit that we have to deal with every single year. And it's already popping up. So I want to go ahead and get on top of that because that's what I do. APW, they were on December 18th. They had 57. Renegade Championship Wrestling. Dude, look at this crowd. 83. Which for them, again, steady going up on average. They've managed to weather the COVID thing and kind of hold serve and do their thing. And they should be proud of themselves. See this kid. Pro South had their big show on the 18th. Look at that report done by Larry on gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com. Looked to be very good stuff. I'm looking forward to watching the Tyler Culprit Austin Towers match in particular. And then KLT supposedly drew 210. We didn't get a report from them. I'm hoping to get the person who runs KLT on the tipping point. Hopefully that's something that we can get done. Larry was on Cheap Heat TV, and there's a picture right there. Super cool stuff. A couple of things that it's worth watching, especially when Larry is on. But one thing that was really cool was how many people turned out. Even they noted it on the show. It's like, oh my God, we got a lot of people tuning in for Larry Goodman. Larry doesn't do interviews like that very often, and this one felt like an event for him to do it, and it was. And people showed out for it. It was really cool to hear Larry answer questions about everything from like deathmatch wrestling to where he sees wrestling going. and his opinions thereof. Larry's always a great interview and always a lot of fun. Cool. I'm noting these things as the pictures that I put up. That way I can get this thing out as soon as possible. All right, Heritage, we finally got a report from them. They only drew 40, and that sucks for them. I want them to do better in their next show in January. So hopefully they'll get on it, continue to promote, continue to get their thing done. For videos that I'm going to do this week, besides my Christmas Day video, obviously Raw is happening. I'm going to have a report on that. AEW Dark's happening. I'm going to have a report on that. Impact is happening. I'm going to have a report on that. NXT's happening. I'm going to have a report on that. AEW Dynamite is not going to happen until like 10 o'clock-ish, whenever the NBA is done. I know, kid. You're already asleep then. And I am going to do a report on that. And then SmackDown, where you're going to have Big E against Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. Based on what happened on TLC, I will have a report on that. Whew. In addition to that, I'm going to do the Christmas Day video. And I'm also going to put out a P-list soon. I'm thinking I'm going to let this weekend's shows play out. AWE has their show of the year happening. They have a couple guys that weren't able to show up, but they're already replacing them. That's exciting. That's taking place on the 27th, I believe. And then on the 26th, Saturday, the day after Christmas, Anarchy is going to have their big show, Hardcore Hell. I think I want to wait to see how this weekend plays out, because that's going to affect the P-list that I want to do afterwards. What's the P-list going to be? The final top 10 wrestlers of Georgia for the year. And things are definitely going to be shaken up, because Joe Black, obviously, is not going to be there. So that's going to move things around. Who's going to be number one? One thing I know for sure, as far as that P-list goes with the top 10 wrestlers, it's going to be bangers only. By the way, rumor has it that it's the mighty AC Mack, who may be number one in that top 10, by the way. That it's AC Mack himself who came up with the name Bangers Only. I'll try not to hold it against him. And then our final story before we get to the commentary. This is going to be a relatively short full disclosure news and commentary, because I put out that big ass long video yesterday. Can you do me a favor? Because Daddy's probably going to swear a lot. So can you go to the other side, please?
Actually, may I please go to that court down by the pool?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Daddy.
It's a good spot.
Yay, swearing!
Now, Steve, how do you know for sure you're going to swear? Here's how. What is that? So we get the Puerto Rican news and notes as a regular feature, which I think is awesome. Again, for those that don't understand Georgia wrestling history, we are not limited in scope. We cover the Southeast. Hell, we even cover Puerto Rico. It's one of those things about the site that's really cool, right? We cover the Carolina scene, and we cover things from Tennessee. And you can look on gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com and see that for yourself. And obviously, I'm here in Florida, so Florida gets coverage. And for God's sakes, I'm covering every stupid fucking national show going on. You know, Impact, which tapes in Tennessee, and then AEW and WWE, which do all their tapings in Florida. So we got it covered, dog. But we also cover Puerto Rico, and this thing is from that. What is that? It's a story about Invader number 1. Selling his memorabilia and selling action figures with his likeness and all this kind of stuff. So, so I followed up on this just to make sure I was right about this. Because I just didn't, this is one of those things you don't want to be wrong about. And so it's like, oh, look on his Facebook. And yeah, he does indeed have a Facebook where he's selling all of this stuff. And if Invader number 1 doesn't mean anything to you, Invader number 1's the motherfucker that murdered Bruiser Brody. Um, Now, am I saying, oh, this needs to be canceled? We can't put. It's a news item and it's up there, and he's selling the shit, and people have the right to go buy the shit, and he has the right to sell the shit. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying, and the spirit of the holiday season, fuck this guy in his ass with a Yule log. Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. Um, Fuck him. You know, I was thinking about, wrestling, whether this is my rant, wrestling, whether we know it or not. And get that motherfucker shit out of here. Um, I was thinking about Bruiser Brody. That made me think about Bruiser Brody. So that's the one positive that you can see. I'll put my head in the way of this freaking street light. And with all the stuff going around, like 2021 is going to be quite a year. I think it's the year where the WWE is, in many ways, going to have to come to terms with itself. I think business as usual is definitely not going to be a thing. I think all of this stuff with Twitch and these third-party things, supposedly Vince McMahon sat down and met with Sasha Banks and AJ Styles and Xavier Woods, who are the three people who have very prominent presence on third-party platforms where they make a great deal of income from them. And basically they were told that as far as the WWE is concerned, not only are their ring names intellectual property, but their very face and image itself, which is fucking ludicrous. And I think if you're somebody who purports to respect pro wrestlers and what they do, and they break their bodies to entertain us and blah, 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 and you can't see that that's bullshit, or your heart doesn't even incline to go that way, go fuck yourself too. Go fuck Invader 1 and fuck you. At this stage in the game, if you are not about the boys in some way, shape, or form, and your inclination is to not even go that way, fuck you. If rumors that I've heard are true and guys are not getting paid for doing promos for shows, I think that's bullshit too. If you've made a request of a pro wrestler and you have an arrangement where they get paid to do your show, to wrestle, if you're asking them to haul their cookies down to your show and do something, they should be paid for it. Now, maybe it's not their full going rate of doing a match or whatever, but they should be paid, or at least the offer should be made. Just my opinion. We need to get away from this thing where we are not pro the wrestlers. Can the boys be a fucking pain in the ass? Yes. Do they do stupid shit? Yes. Do I call them out for those things? Have we fucking met? Absolutely I do. But going into 2021, now it's all symbolic bullshit, right? It's a date on a calendar and whatever. But I do feel like the nature of pro wrestling is changing. And people are always going to look for the ways that it's changing for the bad. But I prefer to think of it as, in many ways, we have a chance to shed the bullshit that we've always kept. I would hope that happens with promotions in Georgia. I certainly think it's going to happen on a national level. And rest assured, when things change, and they will, if your inclination is for your heart to go out to World Wrestling Entertainment, because they've always been so good and so fair to the people under their employ, then you don't fucking know anything about the wrestling business or its history. Period. If your constant attitude is, the boys should just be grateful for this, that, or the other, and not, man, it would be good if we got to a place where the resources that the boys expend, and of course when I say the boys, I mean the women who work on the shows as well. Of course I mean that. If we can't come to better grips with honoring the time and commitment that it takes, you know, the only the most ignorant go, oh, the 10 minutes that they're out in the ring wrestling their match or whatever that time is. That's just stupid. I really hope people shed that attitude of, well, the WWE must be right about blank because blank. No. They're fucking wrong about shit all the time. And they've gotten away with shit all the time. Does that mean they should be burned to the ground? No. But at the same time, if you are one of these people who assume because they say it, it is so, then I guess we can rest assured that marks still truly exist. Commentary. Here's the basic shit about the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. Don't get your panties in a bunch just because we're fucking organized. And Rob Rod and other people have made sure that shit is fucking being handled. No, we're not going to take nominations until the new year. Not the 27th, not today, until the new year. That way we have the chance for the 2022 play out. Then we will take nominations. We'll go through the fucking nominations. Pick 3 for each category. And then people will be allowed to vote. Who will be allowed to vote? No, not fans. Fuck the fans. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. This isn't about fans. And this isn't about fucking the ticket taker or the security guy. This is about people who are working in wrestling. And they will vote. And then we will have a tipping point where we announce the winners. And if Larry contacts you to be on that show, yes, you probably won. And it's great. And yes, this year, you will get the fucking coolest trophy I've ever fucking heard of. And for past winners who were like, God damn, I wish I could have had a trophy. Guess what? You can. The person who's making these trophies for us, I talked to him and he's agreed, yes, if you really want trophies, only if you are a past winner, by the way, and that will be confirmed and all of that kind of shit. He'll have a list of who's who, what's what. Then, yeah, you can buy the trophy. But the only people who will get one will be people who have earned it. Will the people who are receiving the trophies for this year's thing have to pay? No, of course not. You will get them. Make sense? Great. Now let's talk about some rules of the road. And I saw that KLT was already doing this. Motherfuckers, you do not organize your shit to vote in a block. If you're one of those people that do that, fuck you. This is about people, your peers, voting for who they think should win in various categories. It's the thing that makes these awards worth anything. You don't vote in blocks. You don't nominate in blocks. You just fucking put your nominations in. We don't, I'll just be fucking honest. We don't tally up how many nominations come in. We look at all the people who get nominated and then argue. And then you're saying, but Steve, that's not fair. Oh, it's certainly fucking fair. Because if you are a shitbird promotion, and I'm not saying KLT, I'm just saying anybody. If you're a shitbird promotion and you happen to fucking stack the fucking nomination process as much as you can, fuck you. That shit's worked in the past, and it's fucking terrible. And so it's not going to happen. And this year, since we're going ahead and doing the awards, and there's fucking trophies being awarded, and all that kind of good shit, forgive me if I want to have some modicum of control to make sure the people who are nominated or worthy of the nomination. Now, the voting, that's completely out of my hands. And for the record, even though I state it every year, people don't seem to fucking understand this. I don't vote. I don't vote, even though in past years I've been desperate to vote for certain categories, especially when I knew or suspected they were incredibly close, and I still didn't do it. So don't call for block voting. What can you do about it though, Steve? Nothing. Except if I find out about it, I'll fucking call it out. And I would suspect that me calling these kind of things out publicly probably has more of an influence than you think they do. Now, the usual bullshit. What's the usual bullshit? There's always the people, there's always the quote-unquote underrepresented federations in Georgia and other places that whine and complain, right? It's not fair because, look, you guys have a chance to fucking nominate. You have a chance to fucking... I already see people kind of campaigning to get votes. And that's not stupid. That's smart, right? It's smart to let people know, hey, I've done some great shit this year. You should fucking check it out. Yes, we're going to put the promos and the matches that come in for promo and match of the year will eventually go on that Facebook page that Rob Rod has organized. Yes, that will happen. Is it happening right now? No. It'll happen at the end of the year. Cool? Great. There's always the people that complain, oh, but the awards don't mean anything. And they spend a lot of time arguing about how they don't mean anything. Cool. To you, if they mean nothing, great. But if you find yourself arguing again and again, look, I get it. A lot of you thought that you should have won for something and then you didn't. Oh, well, piss your pants, boo fucking who. Every year, there is now a group of people who work very hard, on their off time, I might add, to make sure these things have value, are adjudicated fairly. And it is really Larry and Georgia Wrestling history's gift to Georgia Wrestling, particularly the people that do the shit. I understand bitter feelings arise. And I understand that people have to make themselves feel better, especially if they've never won. And gosh darn it, they deserved it. And that manifests in these petty, bitchy, pussy ways. I get that that's going to happen, and I understand the instinct. When I was sitting there the one year that they had me on, so I'm sure PCW is going to clean up. And it was one of the two Rampage years. So then Rampage won fucking everything. And the only reason they had me on was because I was the only one who would know what the fuck I was talking about as far as all the nominees went. Yeah, that fucking hurt. But at the end, PCW had their banner year, and even people who hated PCW or me, which was most people, a lot of them had to acquiesce and vote for us anyway. And let me tell you, that year was mighty fucking sweet. I get people's instinct is to be negative about shit. But these awards mean a lot to a lot of people. Particularly because they're peer-based. And particularly because they know the work that goes into making sure they go well. And this is not me pleading my case and please love the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. You can feel however you want to feel about shit. But for the people that have been talking shit, ask Rick Michaels if he felt redeemed when he won the Legend. Or when he won Booker of the Year. Ask Chip Day how he felt when he won Wrestler of the Year. If he felt like he was finally getting his due. Ask the numerous people who have given some of the most beautiful speeches when they've won awards and been on. with Larry. Ask yourself, what is it about you, person who wants to shit on everything? Why that bothers you so much? Meaning, if you haven't gathered, is what you make it. If 2020 has not taught people that by now, I don't know what will. I, for one, am done apologizing with any notion of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. They're a good thing, and every year they get better. And every year they mean more. And now there's trophies too. Not too fucking bad. And just like people showed Larry respect when he went on that fucking podcast and people showed out for it, never forget that the reason Larry gets this respect is not because he's a wannabe Dave Meltzer or anything else that dumb fucks say about Larry, or me for that matter. The value of Larry really is that he's one of the few people who isn't directly involved with the pro wrestling business, but who has contributed mightily to it and asked for so little in return. There is an archive and a history that Larry has been an instrumental part in doing and preserving and providing a platform to motherfuckers like me to come enhance. My goal 3 or 4 years ago, when we started doing Tipping Point and I started getting more involved in shit, was to really be a hub where those who wanted to learn about wrestling could learn about it more. Those who wanted to really know what was going on in the scene. I normally shouldn't have to toot my horn, but I'm going to toot it. There are people who are working on better shows right now as a direct result of a phone call or a message or a text or whatever from me. Introducing people, hooking them up, doing my best to live up to my word, right? Southern Honor, I joked, fuck, if they make another year, I'll fucking show up to your show. And guess what? They did it. And even though it's a fucking pain in the ass for me to go, I went. And I made the most of that weekend, right? Why would I do that? Because I love wrestling. I love pro wrestling. Gary Lamb was not wrong about his list. I fucking love this shit. And the Georgia Wrestling History Awards, especially for 2020, it has a meaning that ripples through wrestling in the state and in other states. And if your instinct is to try to downplay or shit on or ruin something, then just like Invader 1, fuck you. As I've told many people, long after you're done with this shit, I'll still be here being me. And as long as I can keep Larry fucking happy, I suspect that Georgia Wrestling History will still be here, archiving, getting those show reports in, and our team keeps expanding, both in the amount of work they're doing and their influence. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And if somebody wants to argue that another state's got it going on like we got it going on, Invader 1 yourself. Hey!
Hello. I just completed the Veronica workout. Here's how you do the Veronica workout at home.
Okay, come here. We're not going to... I'm about to wrap up this video, so we're not going to hear about the Veronica workout right now. But you know what?
You just do 10 hop tosses, and then you run around like a track thing 2 times in a row. Then you do a cool down by walking around the 2 squares and slowly raising your arms up and down like this. That's it.
That's what you call getting your shit in. So when the time comes, get yours in for the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. Have a Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you before then.
Merry Christmas. Llama says Merry Christmas too.
And tonight, by the way, Saturn and Jupiter are closer than they've been in a long, long time.
41 degrees!
Yes, indeed. Anyway, this has been Full Disclosure.
Don't do drugs, kids.
What's a drug anyway?